Good morning and welcome to our webinar today. I am Dale Jasperovic. I am the Student Assistance Center Administrator for the Student Assistance Center at Prevention First. I want to welcome everyone to our webinar, and even though it is cold and snowy outside my window this morning, I'm glad everyone is here and managed the roads safely across Illinois after the storm that hit yesterday. I want to tell you about a couple of things upcoming from the Student Assistance Center. One is I always want to mention, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, and our Twitter handle is at SACenterPF. You can see that on your screen currently. I also want to tell you that on Twitter what I do is I follow a number of organizations and retweet information from other organizations. I also make announcements about upcoming trainings and opportunities for student assistance programs. So please follow us on Twitter at SACenterPF. Also upcoming on March 21st, we'll be holding a Student Assistance Symposium in Litchfield, Illinois. You can access and register for that symposium on our website at www.prevention.org, and you go to training and click on Student Assistance Training, and you can find all our trainings and webinars that are available there, and the symposium is at the bottom of that list. Also, we're recording today's webinar, and that will be archived in our resources section under Student Assistance Center. You can find our Student Assistance Program data, archived webinars. The last one was SAP and the Illinois 5 Essentials that we did a few weeks ago, and some others that are a little older that we did last year. Also a number of other resources on our website for your use and knowledge and viewing pleasure. So without further ado, I want to turn our presentation over today to our team from Lockport, and they will take you through their presentation on their work around prom season. So I welcome you and thank you for joining today.
Thanks, Dale. Good morning, everybody. This is Grant Ferkowik. I'm the Director of Guidance here at Lockport Township High School. Part of our staff group here with us today, we have Dave Palmer, Dee Dee Curtis, and Kellyanne Booth, who are all guidance counselors, Carmen Smith and Sue Hutters, who are our social workers, and our school psychologist, Steve Bentley. Just a little bit of history behind where our program has come from. This is our staff group all presenting today, and the origination of our staff program was based around some events that had been going on in the school and the decision to really address some of those concerns. In the past, we had a student assistance person here in the building, but due to budget cuts and things that we're all familiar with, we kind of took it upon ourselves to continue that work. So some of the things that the staff group does is provide prevention activities. We coordinate with local agencies and things like that. We offer support groups. But really our biggest event is the participation in our prom extravaganza. And so we started the prom extravaganza because the staff group really felt that we weren't getting out to our community and to our students and really providing positive information about the prom, and not only just prom, but all of the other activities associated with the prom. And so we felt like we really needed to cover the whole range of planning for prom and all of the different things that go into that, the activities on the weekend of prom, and really wanted to look at making good decisions, promoting safety and decision-making for all of our students and our families. We also felt that there was really a need for a parent night that was centered around substance abuse and the role of the parents with their students and really validating them in their choice to, to keep that night a alcohol and drug-free evening. So as we move through the webinar, a couple of the topics that we're going to talk about is how we secure our facilities, looking at the speakers that we've had in the past, how we coordinate our speakers with our fashion show, our local vendors, and how they participate in helping us to make the night happen. One of the most important parts is our reward and reinforcement piece, which actually gets our families and students here. And then looking at advertisement and hospitality, how we take care of the people who are part of that night. So again, I really want to thank you on behalf of Lockport Township High School for joining us today, and hope that we can provide you with some worthwhile information as you begin to plan for your events at your school. Steve, I think you're a technologist. What's important for you to know, once you have the space, you got to reserve it. It's real important to get your date and reserve your space. What we have found is we use our auditorium because it best fits our fashion show and our speaker, as well as we have the foyer outside the auditorium, which would hold all the vendors. So it's real important that we have one area that parents and students can come into and it's all in the same space. We use classrooms, which we have the volunteers at the end of the night, and we found that the classrooms help accelerate the students and to get our volunteers out in a easier fashion. We also make sure that our classrooms, we have schools for our vendors and staff and our fashion show volunteers, help keep them happy. Then there's also space that we use. We have our large special conference room, which would hold all the males, so they are coming for the show. And then we have a basement room that we call the green room, which we have for the girls when they are setting up for their show. I'm Sue Hunter, I'm the social worker, and I'm going to talk to you about speakers. The first thing we did with this process is to sit down and we made a plan on what it is that we wanted to get across to the parents and what kind of support we could provide them. So we came up with particular goals that we wanted our speakers to address. One is about prom. Our big thing with our students was everybody goes out, everybody rents hotel rooms, and everybody parties. We wanted to make sure that our parents know that no, not everybody does this, and they're not in it alone, and we as a high school and other parents can support each other when it comes time to say, no, you just do not do that. We had topics about respect for self and date that was addressed to the students. We discussed parent responsibilities and legal consequences, and the parents learned what exactly legally could happen to them by actually renting these rooms and supplying kids with alcohol. We talked about making positive decisions, peer pressure, temptations and prom, because that old myth is everything happens that night, and the consequences related to drugs and alcohol. The key with this, though, is it's very important to get speakers who are dynamic, who can relate to the students as well as their parents, and are very interactive. Our first speaker, we call him Pastor Steve. Now, Pastor Steve is not your typical pastor that you're thinking of. This man is so dynamic. His terminology is towards the kids. He made the kids laugh. He would use kids within our audience. He made a really large impact. And then we followed that up with a detective from our Lockport Police Department who got out and actually gave some laws out to the parents of what could happen and to the students. The following year, we used Imagination Theater, which is also outstanding because it is also engaging. So it is a college group of individuals that trying to get a point across that they bring our students up into the stage, and it's very interactive. So we go back and forth. We started with Pastor Steve, went to Imagination Theater, and this year again we're back with Pastor Steve. But I think the biggest thing you have to remember is you cannot preach to the kids. You have to find someone who's interactive and engaging in order to get your message across. Thank you. Hi, this is Carmen Smith. I am the fashion show police. The first year we did not do a fashion show, but for the past years we have done fashion shows. And the purpose of the fashion show was to showcase our students first, to showcase the their dresses and their makeup. We also wanted to get the kids excited about coming to prom. We found that most of our students tend to do their prom shopping right before Christmas or right after Christmas. So we are trying to stay ahead of the game that way. We select 15 males, 15 females, all seniors. They're selected based on their school involvement, personality, and we have chosen or we encourage diversity. We've had students in our fashion show with IEPs, and to see their faces when they're on stage modeling, and to know that they were chosen to represent their high school was an awesome experience. The models prepare in the principal conference room for the males, and the females are downstairs in the green room. We've talked back and forth about how long it takes our students to get dressed. The girls are here, we just missed at 3 o'clock, the girls are here for 3 hours with hair and makeup and dresses, and we do a run-through of how they're, and with the music, as to how they're to show themselves on stage. We ask them to go out and have a good time. We ask them not to be stiff models, to just be playful, and they really enjoy that. We use vendors such as bridal shops, formal wear shops, hair salons, tuxedo shops, and we've had people volunteer to do makeup. We started getting calls this year in August. People were calling saying, when is the fashion show? We want to do the makeup, we want to do the hair, and we want to do the dresses for you this year. So once it gets out there, people are really, really excited about participating.
Good morning. My name is Dee Dee Curtis, and I'm one of the counselors, and I'm going to be talking about the vendors. What we wanted to do with our prom extravaganza is we wanted to include our local businesses to make it a community event for our high school. So honestly, the very first year, all we did was we did Google searches on our local businesses that provide services such as salons, DJs who would provide the music for our fashion show, the formal wear rental boutique to provide the dresses, tanning salons, nail salons, floral shops, jewelry retailers, and also a bank we had. So they come in and they get set up. We have an auditorium, as Mr. Bentley had said, where the speakers come. But outside of the auditorium, we have a foyer where we actually have a bunch of tables set up for each of the vendors. They are responsible to bring their own tablecloth. So a lot of times they have tablecloths that actually have their names on it, so it's advertising for them. Included is also their name in our event program that every person gets when they walk through the door. Also, we ask each vendor to donate a product or a service for that evening that we can raffle off. That's another great way that we get parents and kids into our event. Things such as they have donated houses for students, they've donated dresses, they've donated gift certificates for a salon, and coupons for going in and getting their hair done. So those are just some of the products or services that they have donated in the past. Additionally, to get the interest with the vendors, we do send out an initial letter of interest 2 to 3 months in advance. And then we end up always making follow-up phone calls just to make sure we have all the RSVPs in. But I have to tell you that just going out in the community, a lot of times it's by word of mouth. Some people have been part of our prom extravaganza, and they talk with other local businesses, and they want to be part of it as well. So just by word of mouth is also a great piece of advertising. We needed a way to get a lot of our students and parents into our prom extravaganza. Honestly, we did it the first year without doing this whole process of the fashion show and prom voucher. So we had very few people that showed up. So we needed to figure out a way that we could get students and parents to really jump on board and be part of our evening event. So what we did as a so-called reward for coming to our evening, each student that's an LTA student would get a $25 prom voucher off of their ticket. Approval initially was needed by our administration and our junior class sponsors who are actually in charge of the prom. So what we did is we actually printed out those $25 prom vouchers right through our own high school, and then we distribute them at the end of the evening after all different parts of the actual presentation have been completed. So we end up going into 7 different classrooms. Each one of our staff members is part of one classroom where we have to run a list of all of the juniors and all of the seniors. And then as we distribute the vouchers, we end up highlighting their names. So that is a way that we can keep track of who has actually received which voucher. Student and parent must be present in order to receive the voucher. One thing that we had run into some issues is that, well, my parent couldn't be here this evening because they had to work, or can my prom date, who is not actually an LTA student, get a $25 voucher? And through this process, we had decided that it is only open up for LTHS students, and their parent must be present in order to get their voucher. Okay, I had mentioned about that there were certain prizes that students were able to get. Each student that walks through the door gets a raffle ticket. And then last year was our first year that we actually sold raffle tickets. And part of the prizes were actually 2 free tickets to the prom. We had a free tuxedo rental as well as a free dress. And then in addition to that, we also had additional raffles for the vendor donations that were given to us. And those included, like I said previously, gift certificates, baskets full of different products, etc.
I have a question. Did you face any opposition from the junior class sponsors in terms of the voucher process initially? Because I know that's a part of, one, paying for the prom, and 2, kind of the class funds, if you will.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. There was some conversations and meetings that needed to take place to get this in place, and to be honest, it worked out well because the junior class was in a transition period where they were looking to raise the prices of the prom. And so what worked out at that point is we went from a $75 ticket to a $100 ticket. And so by offering the voucher, we were really just keeping the price the same. That eased the blow a little bit for the junior class, and it also eased the blow for the parents with that cost going up to $100 a ticket. It helped with that $25 voucher. They were more willing to swallow that rise in price. So that did help. However, each year we have to have another conversation with our activities director and our junior class to ensure that this is a worthwhile program and that the voucher is still an essential piece to getting the parents there. So it was a bit of a struggle, but with doing some upfront communication and also seeing the results of the night and how well received it was, I think that's kind of solidified our position with continuing that voucher.
Thank you.
This is Dave Palmer, counselor. One of the things that we're very lucky at Lockport is we have many different ways to get the word out about our programs. And we really use them all in terms of getting the word out about the prom extravaganza. A couple of things that we did are listed on this PowerPoint. Obviously, most, if not all, high schools have morning announcements in which that we would advertise our prom extravaganza. Probably anywhere a week to a week and a half in advance with the morning announcement. Our principal at the East Campus, which holds our sophomore through senior class, he leaves a voice message every Sunday for all of our students. So this voicemail will typically entail upcoming events, upcoming things that parents should be aware of, and we were fortunate enough that he included in his upcoming events our prom extravaganza. I believe anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks ahead of time. We have a marquee in front of our school that was able to project the time and the date for our event. The next, which I'm going to actually get off the screen and go to another PowerPoint, we have 4 flat screen TVs in our cafeteria that will display announcements, they'll display little trivia. There are things that during our lunch our students will take a look at and look for information and for enjoyment as well. We put this advertisement for the prom extravaganza. So we put just a little, probably 3 to 5 page PowerPoint on there, just including a lot of pictures from past events because I know a lot of them like to see their classmates being highlighted. So we talked about the where and the when of the event. We talked about the time frame, so that the doors would be open from 5:30 to 6:30, so they'd be able to access the vendors before the start of our fashion show. At 6:30, our fashion show would start, and over the last 2 years, our fashion show has either been right at that half-hour time, or last year was a little bit shorter than that. And then the last part of it would be that 7 to 8 o'clock, we would have our speaker. And then after that, we would have our staff available for the voucher distribution. So we made sure that we put on there that it was required by student and parents to be in attendance to receive the ticket voucher. Okay. We also made sure that we put on there, with our big prize being that $25, we put just kind of a background of where the prom would be taking place, that they would save the money on their prom ticket. Also make sure that we put down that all the different vendors that would be there, that they'd be able to see vendors with regards to gowns, tuxedos, flower, hairstyling, makeup, nails, and much more, which I know Ms. Curtis talked about in previous slides. We would talk about the fashion show and kind of highlight some of the businesses that would be donating their time and products to be helping our students prepare for that fashion show. And then lastly, as a way to promote prom, with our junior class, we included the prom flyer. This was a poster that our junior class used to promote our prom, so we like to include that. Okay. We also use our school's website. Our school includes calendar events right on the front page, which included our prom extravaganza. We did post flyers throughout the school. And then last year we had and I believe this year as well, we had a student government-run student Facebook page at Lockport. Something that was actually very well observed by our students and our parents. And we knew by getting the word through that Facebook page that a lot of people would be able to see that and access that information. And through the success of our events over the last couple of years, our local newspapers, both the Homer Horizon and Lockport Legends, have done articles about the event after the event. So that's kind of a little publicity for us as well, that they've highlighted our school and our kids for the event. In order to kind of to provide a little bit of hospitality for all the people that were participating, our goal was to, with the event, I mean, really our males and females were staying right after school and starting their prep for the fashion show. We had vendors coming in at 4:30, 5 o'clock, so people that hadn't had dinner, people that maybe had come right from work, as well as same thing with our staff. We wanted to be able to provide some kind of hospitality, provide some kind of dinner for those people. So one thing is well in advance, probably within about 2 weeks to 3 weeks, we would contact just the restaurants to see if they would be willing to donate food. We had a great restaurant, which is a great, really a community friend to us that show participants, the vendors, and all the staff that were working the event. The school donated the pop and the water, but the only thing that the restaurants asked was that their menus be displayed just as kind of a little bit of an advertisement. We noticed that we probably would need a little bit extra food, so we were able to purchase a couple of pizzas. In addition to the stuff, to these things that they were already provided, they ended up being $9 or $10 for a large pizza, which is pretty good for the great restaurant that they are. And then we acknowledge their business on our event program as well. We're lucky enough we have a classroom that is right next to our auditorium and floor area that belongs to one of our English / theater teachers. So we're able to utilize that classroom with data that really all 30 to 45 people were able to come in separate shifts and be able to get something.
Hi, I'm Kellyanne Booth. I'm one of the guidance counselors. And every year we come together as a team afterwards and talk about what we could have done better. So after last year, we discussed that we wanted to share with you some of the pitfalls and what we think we should do better this year. So one of the things that happened was for the raffle ticket sales, people were still buying tickets up until the end of the show, and then that kind of put us at a time constraint, and we were waiting to announce who the ticket winners were. So we're going to make sure that this year, 15 minutes before the show ends, we stop all ticket sales so that we have enough time. The other thing was we only had one of our volunteers at the front entrance selling the tickets. That wasn't enough because we actually had quite a few parents and students last year. And so we're going to have at least 2 to 3 people at the front directing traffic and then also selling the raffle tickets. The other thing was for assigning the distribution room. At the end of the presentation, all of our volunteers went into a classroom and distributed the $25 vouchers. We didn't kind of have a process of who was going to be where. So next year, we're going to make sure that we have an assigned volunteer for every room so we know where everyone's at. The other thing was, last year we had our speakers, the Imagination Theater. We were running a little bit late. So for this year, we're going to make sure they're here a lot earlier because our fashion show ran pretty quickly and they weren't ready to set up yet. So we want to make sure that there's almost a time lapse where the speakers are here, they're ready to present in case the fashion show goes a little quicker. The other thing with the fashion show is we're kind of at a trial and error. 2 years ago, we had the students go through twice through the fashion show, and the girls had 2 different dresses. That was actually a little bit too long for a fashion show, and so then the following year, we decided to only have the girls have 1 dress on, and then that was too quick. So what we decided for this year is we're going to do a complete run-through the day before our fashion show and make sure the students know how much time they have on stage, who they want to partner up with so there's not chaos before the fashion show and everything's really prepared. And so also it kind of helps the students because the students are a little nervous going up there. They don't really know what they want to do, how they want to stuff their stuff. So it's kind of nice to have them practice a couple different times. And then if we can go to our survey, we also asked all of the parents to give us some feedback and fill out our evaluation. Our evaluation was really short. We only had them fill out, 6 questions, and then any comments they wanted to share. And through that, we asked, how helpful the Business Expo was, and about 75% of our parents agreed or strongly agreed. We also asked them what they thought of Imagination Theater, if it had a positive impact, and 98% of our parents either agreed or strongly agreed. And then 98% of our parents enjoyed the fashion show, and 83% of parents would recommend to other students. The other thing, additional comment that they had was we wish they had something for the underclassmen. So we're at this time kind of considering if we can bring back either Pastor Steve or Imagination Theater for a different type of presentation and more parent awareness on similar topics. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up was that our $25 voucher was key. And a lot of our parents and students had said that there was more of an incentive the years that we did the voucher. And I don't know if we would have gotten as big of a turnout if we didn't have that $25 voucher.
At this time, I think that really concludes what our process for the prom extravaganza is. We're certainly open to any questions that anybody in the audience may have. Before we get to that point, as the department chair here, I'd just like to thank everyone for all of their work on this team. This is a very labor-intensive process. There's a lot of work that goes into it. But when you're standing at the event on that night, you see all that work really worth it, because it really is an impactful, positive night for our families and our community.
I do have a question. What kinds of results have you seen in terms of the, kind of the consequences around prom since you've been doing this?
Yeah, we really have. It's been very positive. In fact, I think the last couple of years, since we've had it for the past 3 years, we have not had a major incident at the prom where there's been, multiple kids that have been under the influence or reports of a large-scale party. Certainly we're not naive to the fact that some of that stuff still went on, but I would say that we certainly have seen a decrease in the number of kids that are engaging those activities, and the connection back to the school has been very minimal.
Great. Any other questions for the folks there in Lockport? Hearing none, I want to thank you guys from Lockport, the SAP team there at Lockport, for presenting for us today. I appreciate your assistance in doing this and providing this information to SAPs across the state of Illinois, and since it will be on the website potentially across the country and world. So I want to thank you for your presentation today. I want to thank everyone else for attending, and I will look forward to seeing or hearing from all of you again at our next webinar. That information should be coming out via email and on Twitter and on our website in the not-too-distant future. Thank you all for attending today, and stay warm and stay safe.
Thanks, Dale. We want to also thank Prevention First for allowing us this opportunity to present to everyone. Really appreciate your support of these kind of programs, and appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you very much.